I want to talk about two different aspects though of the Thatcher legacy, and I think one, um, which is just kind of the most glaring, because there's kind of two ways of thinking about the Thatcher legacy. One, there's a kind of unacknowledged consensus in some ways that she's about things that she was actually completely wrong about. To the point where David Cameron, who's the conservative UK Prime Minister, has actually apologized on her behalf. And then other areas in terms of economics and social policy where Thatcherism still kind of reigns supreme, frankly. But first, let's look at what Margaret Thatcher's attitude was towards apartheid South Africa when she was Prime Minister of the UK, and specifically towards Nelson Mandela. So this is what she said, and bear in mind, Nelson Mandela was still imprisoned by the apartheid regime when Margaret Thatcher came to power and several years through her premiership. She said about Nelson Mandela, she called Nelson Mandela and the African National Congress, which was the Liberation Party of South Africa, that Nelson Mandela was and the ANC was a typical terrorist organization. And even as the international community came together across party lines to apply sanctions to the white apartheid Afrikaner government in South Africa, Thatcher opposed sanctions, calling for a policy of what she called constructive engagement. Now, I don't know what that means, but what it seemed to mean in practice was opposing sanctions and calling Nelson Mandela a terrorist. So in South Africa, speaking of the opposite end of the spectrum of reaction to Thatcher, look at this tweet. Someone tweeted out, Mandela outlived Thatcher. 1-0 freedom. History is the ultimate judge. That's one tweet that went out in South Africa in reaction to Thatcher's death. And look,
What was it again?
You missed that?
One more time. I just want to make sure I got it.
Mandela outlived Thatcher. 1-0 freedom. History is the ultimate judge.
Okay. That last line, I picture George Bush saying something like that. That'll be a tweet about me when I go.
Tweet when everybody recognizes sometime out in the distance that I just was sort of like Charlie Sheen said, winning.
to quote the great Charlie Sheen.
Quote the great Charlie Sheen. Now, of course, Margaret Thatcher wasn't just atrocious in South Africa. She was atrocious in Chile. She said, and I think Pinochet, this is another thing that we could kind of get to, because this serves dual purposes. Because on one hand, this is another example of Thatcher. Look, the reality of being in government, I think, is that sometimes you're going to have relationships and engagement with unsavory players. Okay, so that I think, and governments of all kinds, in fact, the ANC government, which currently runs South Africa, which came out of the apartheid struggle, has disinvited the Dalai Lama from a Nobel Prize laureate event a couple years ago because they didn't want to offend China and jeopardize arms deals with China. So this is a cross-political thing. But when you talk about Chile, this is so. Just think about this. Margaret Thatcher called Nelson Mandela a terrorist. Now, Augusto Pinochet, who came to power in Chile in 1973 in a military coup, organized opposition people and opposition politicians in soccer stadiums, had them killed en masse, and pioneered a way of killing people which was used in Argentina and by a number of right-wing junta governments in Latin America, where you would take people in helicopters, drug them so they passed out, cut their stomachs open, throw them out of the plane so they could sink into the ocean. And their families would have no way of kind of tracing or recovering the body. So this is Pinochet's human rights record. And he did this all with the support of course, not only Thatcher, but also the United States. The coup happened under the Nixon administration. Kissinger was very close with Pinochet. Now, in the late 80s, Pinochet, under an agreement where he had lifetime immunity for all of his serial human rights abuses, did agree to have a referendum to transition Chile back to democracy. So Thatcher said that Augusto Pinochet was the man responsible for bringing democracy to Chile. After he overthrew a democratically elected government, killed tens of thousands of people, jailed opposition leaders, had people tortured, then he agreed to a referendum where he would have lifelong immunity, and Margaret Thatcher came away with he brought democracy to Chile. But of course, from Margaret Thatcher's perspective, and other people, another big fan of Pinochet libertarian listeners was Milton Friedman. Because Pinochet, while he was committing these horrific human rights abuses, was privatizing government industries and slashing social spending. So he was held up as this great model for free markets. So I guess markets and freedom don't always come together. But you got to, but again, but I think
What?
I know.
Huh? What?
Totally shocking. Again, I just. Wow. Exactly. So basically, those are, and then of course, also she was very friendly with the Saddam Hussein regime in the 80s when he was still on the right side of things. General Suharto in Indonesia, who also had a horrific human rights record. So that's part of the Thatcher legacy, which we should all be talking about now.